You ever have one of those neighbors that makes you question reality? Like, am I actually living in a sitcom or is this just my life now? Because let me tell you, when a 50-something lady with a poodle haircut and a clipboard breaks your lock and tries to have you arrested in your own front yard, it makes you wonder. I swear if you don't stick around for this story, you'll miss the most satisfying comeuppance a Karen has ever gotten right in front of an entire neighborhood audience. Yeah, that happened. But let me back up a sec and tell you how we got here. This all kicked off right after I scraped together every dime I had to buy my first house, a 2-bedroom brick bungalow in a sleepy old neighborhood filled with giant oaks and folks who mostly kept to themselves. It wasn't fancy, not by a long shot, but after years of apartment walls thin as tissue paper and rent checks that made my wallet cry, this place felt like my own private castle. I'd survived on ramen old Hondas and whatever freelance design gigs I could scrounge up just for this. And when I finally moved in, I'd walk those hardwood floors barefoot, windows open, letting that old house smell, yeah. Mothballs and nostalgia seep into my bones. My house, my rules, my peace. Or so I thought. The first time I saw Carol, I didn't think much of it. I was busy fighting a box containing my new standing desk, looking like a man losing a wrestling match with a refrigerator when I felt her eyes. There she was, arms crossed, hair poofed and bottle blonde white dog under one arm, looking at me like I was tracking mud through heaven. I offered a neighborly, "Hey, how's it going?" But all I got back was a death glare and a slammed screen door. I shrugged it off. Every block's got a grump, right? Except this was only the beginning. Because Carol, she was the unofficial queen of our block. Her hobbies included glaring note-leaving and apparently keeping a running tally of every blade of grass in my yard. And I mean that literally week 2, she was outside yelling at me for blowing grass clippings into the street while I mowed. It's a street, Carol. The wind will handle it. But she was dead serious. Then she launched into a speech about my trash cans, which I'd left up by my garage for all of 3 hours. It's an eyesore. It lowers property values, she shrieked like she was warding off the end times. Here's the thing. My whole life we rented. My folks worked themselves raw just to keep us in a tiny apartment, and I joined the Air Force out of high school just to get a shot at owning a home one day. When I finally got that little bungalow, it was supposed to be my reward. But this woman, man, it was like she could sniff out happiness and just had to stomp on it. Still, I tried to let it slide, just kept my head down, waved, ignored the notes she taped on my trash bins. Sometimes I'd get support from Mrs. Gable next door, a legend, honestly, who'd lived there since the 50s and made lemon loaf so good it could end wars. Just smile, wave, and ignore her. She told me she feeds on confrontation. For a while, I thought that'd be enough. But Carol didn't want peace. She wanted compliance. When my friends came over for a little backyard barbecue, 4 guys, burgers, a Bluetooth speaker barely above a whisper, she showed up at the fence barking about rowdy parties and strange people. And let me tell you, the way she said strange people, I felt it in my gut. My friends are a mixed bunch, black, white, Hispanic, and her eyes didn't miss a thing. That was the first time I really wondered if this was about more than grass clippings. From there, it just got weirder. Carol started scrutinizing my every move. I work from home, so my schedule's all over the place. Sometimes I'm mowing the lawn at 2 p.m. Sometimes I'm jogging at midnight. Apparently to her, that's a federal crime. One afternoon, I was hacking out a dead rose bush, and Carol came stomping over. "Are you authorized to do that landscaping?" she demanded. "I am the homeowner, Carol. No apology, no backpedal, just a huff and a retreat. It would have been funny if it didn't sting. You want a twist? Here it is." After months of her drama, one morning she left a note on my windshield about my eyesore of a car, a beat-up Honda with a few dents, sure, but paid off and all mine. Violates the neighborhood covenant, lowers property values, blah, blah, blah. That was the moment something in me snapped. I'd bent over backwards trying to be neighborly. Now I was done. I wasn't going to live in fear of some petty tyrant. I'd enjoy my house my way. If she wanted a war, fine. Of course, the universe has a wicked sense of humor. A couple weeks later, after a run, I realized I'd locked myself out, keys missing, every door bolted tight. Only way in was a high-up bathroom window with a busted latch right above a prickly bush. I'm halfway through my Mission Impossible reenactment balancing on the bush when I hear the banshee wail. "Get away from that house! I'm calling the police!" Sure enough, there's Carol trembling with righteous fury, phone in hand, her dog barking like the world's smallest attack squad. "Carol, it's me, Alex. I live here. I just locked myself out." I tried to reason, but she was having none of it. "I'm calling the cops." "There's a big black man breaking in. He's dangerous." I froze. I knew what that meant. She used those magic words, the ones that get people hurt, or worse. All because I was sweaty, wearing a red hoodie and trying to get into my own home. I stepped off the bush, started filming with my phone, and waited. I wasn't taking any chances. When the cops rolled up, sirens, wailing guns drawn the whole 9 yards, my stomach just bottomed out. The younger one barked at me to get on the ground. I kept my hands visible, voice steady as I could. "This is my house. My ID's inside. Check my mailbox. My name's on everything." Meanwhile, Carol's across the street shrieking about how I threatened her life. But the older cop, bless him, actually listened. He checked my mail, saw my name, and finally holstered his gun. Relief doesn't even cover what I felt. He apologized, admitted they knew the caller, and handed Carol a citation for filing a false report right there in front of everyone. The look on her face. You ever see a deflated parade balloon? That was her. Here's where karma kicked in hard. That evening, Mrs. Gable stopped by with brownies, and the best gossip, Carol, turns out, didn't even own her house. She was a renter. The kingpin of property values, leaving angry notes and terrorizing the block, wasn't even paying a mortgage. Her landlord, a guy named Henderson, lived in the next town over. Mrs. Gable gave me his number, and I emailed him, laid out the whole mess, attached the video, the police report, everything. He called me within an hour, mortified. Turns out he'd been looking for a reason not to renew her lease anyway. After seeing the footage, he moved faster than a squirrel on Red Bull. Next morning, a big white envelope was taped to Carol's door. 30 days notice eviction in progress, and boy, did she not take it well. The following weeks were a comedy of pettiness, her accidentally spraying my shoes with her hose, slamming doors, muttering curses loud enough for the squirrels to blush. But the spell was broken. Suddenly, neighbors who'd kept their heads down started stopping to chat. Mrs. Gable said it best. Best thing to happen to this street in 5 years. And then, eviction day. You haven't lived until you've watched a Karen lose her castle. Movers arrived early. Carol shrieked at them non-stop, micromanaged every box, nearly came to blows over a dusty lamp. The whole neighborhood watched, some walking dogs, some fake weeding already perfect lawns, everybody just happening to be outside. When her little white dog escaped, leading her on a wild chase through Mrs. Gable's rose bushes, and she came face to face with the entire block watching her, you could feel the curtain drop. She stuffed the dog in her car, shot me one last withering glare, and peeled out of there, moving truck trailing behind. And just like that, peace. Actual golden neighborly peace. I walked onto my porch, breathed in the quiet, and waved to Mrs. Gable across the street as she gave me a big thumbs up over her ruined flowers. So tell me, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Ever have a neighbor go full Karen on you, or seen karma catch up to someone so perfectly? Drop your wildest neighbor stories, thoughts on justice, or whatever's on your mind down below. I want to hear from you. And hey, if you're still with me and can't stand Karens either, hit that subscribe, give a like, and let's make this the year of peaceful neighborhoods for everyone.